All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well on this fine Tuesday evening. I think we're still waiting on a few more senators. I know we've already met quorum, which is great. But if everyone who has camera access could turn their cameras on so I can see your lovely little faces. And thank you to all of the attendees who are here today. Let's get perfect. Okie doke. So we'll give it like maybe another minute or so. Today's song was Bloom Dito by Bird and Diz. Just got that one on vinyl, so very excited for that. Hopefully the song choice is, not too dull. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming. I hope your semester is going well so far. As you can see, I'm just trying to waste some time before we get everyone in here. Jyoti, how are we looking on attendance so far? Pretty good? Okay, well, we can, oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, perfect. Well, then we can get started since we've met quorum, and then hopefully any stragglers will come on in. So thank you guys for joining us for the first session of this spring. Very exciting. I hope you guys had a nice and restful break. I know I needed it. So hopefully you guys had a nice safe break indoors and socially distanced. So I am going to share the agenda super quick so we can get that approved after Jyoti does roll call, actually.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with Senator Decker.
Here.
Senator Huerta.
Here.
Senator Sanchez Suarez.
Here.
Senator Tinti.
Here.
Senator Onbar, Senator Rethel,
Present.
Senator Parday,
Here.
Senator Ibanez, Senator Vakala, Senator Hauk,
Here.
Senator Hollingsworth,
Here.
Senator Ibarra,
Here.
Senator Isais, Senator Saidu,
Here.
Senator Scoville,
Here.
Senator Lopez,
Here.
Senator Mansfield,
Here.
Senator Subbaraman,
Here.
Senator Brown,
Here.
and last but not least, Senator Vogel.
Here.
Okay, that concludes our roll call.
Awesome. Thank you so much, JT. Well, thank you guys. So now I'm going to do that sharing of the agenda, like I said earlier. So let me get that pulled up so that everyone can see. Can we see that? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, cool. For approval of the agenda, obviously we have everything as per usual. And then the only item of legislation business we have today is SB 24, which is an act to establish the seat counts for the upcoming legislature using the 21st day enrollment data. So are there any motions on the floor or any amendments that people would like to make to the agenda?
I motion to approve.
Not a-
I got a motion from Senator Mansfield. Was there a second on that one for the approval of the agenda?
Second.
All right, so we got a second. So the agenda is thusly approved then. So what we will do next is our Dean of Students, Cassandra Aska, is here. And thank you so much for taking the time, as you always do. We really appreciate it. So she'll start with some updates, and then senators, you'll be able to ask questions. After that, we'll do call to the audience, and then our regular business. So I will stop screen sharing so our lovely Dean Aska can share us some updates. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope you had a good break.
Absolutely. Thank you for, again, continuing to include me in these meetings. I think this is phenomenal. It gives me an opportunity to hear what's top of mind for you while sharing some updates from us from the university to you all. So first, welcome back. It is spring 2021. Similar to President Hostel, I hope you all did have a good winter break and that you were able to garner some rest and then plan for the spring semester. So a couple of quick updates. One of the things that we did do last semester is proactively communicate to our students, particularly our students who live on campus, what would the process be with regards to COVID testing upon their return to the residential halls. That process seems to have gone smoothly. Of course, no process is ever perfect, but there has been minimal concerns and complaints that have been shared about that experience. And I think part of that is the proactive communication with you all and with our students so that they can, again, plan accordingly and be proactive with regards to their return to the residential halls if they left. Our commitment has always been that if students needed to remain in the halls during the winter break for whatever reason, that they would be able to do that and they could do that. We could support that, and we did. So looking forward to having our students who are on campus continue to have a positive experience with us. Now, simultaneously, I recognize that some of you and your constituents may be very disappointed in the final decision that has come forward with regards to spring break. And so I want to acknowledge that, it is not a reflection of your voices not being heard. It is a reflection of all voices coming to the table and then making an informed decision as far as what the institution will do. So I'm hopeful through the conversations that I've had with you all and with students that knowing that the academic calendar has shifted in light of the pandemic, that students will again be able to make proactive plans in support of their success throughout the course of the semester. You all have done and continue to do a good job in sharing with your constituents the resources that are available to them. So we are hopeful that students will continue to utilize those resources in order to help them. So if they have concerns about the spring semester and being able to work collectively with their faculty or with other aspects of their experience, that they would be able to reach out to one of multiple or more of multiple offices across the university. As I've been in communication with our academic colleagues, again, we continue to encourage the proactive communication with your faculty. So please encourage any student that comes to your attention seeking some guidance, advise them to speak with their faculty in addition to reaching out to their academic advisors and or the Dean of Students office for any additional support or guidance in working through the spring semester. But we are hopeful that the proactive communication, even though it wasn't the outcome that some students wanted, will still be received in a matter in helping them to plan accordingly. Simultaneously, for those of you who have been on campus since the spring semester started, I know it's been a week, there has been much more activity with regards to students walking around campus. I've been intentional about going outside and just seeing the influx of people, even in the evenings, walking around campus and going to the Memorial Union and other spaces on campus. And so one of the things that we continue to do and have planned to do, but continue to do it utilizing the COVID guidelines, is advancing in-person experiences. We know that there are students who want that. We also know there are students who don't want that. So again, it's providing the option for individuals who do want that in-person engagement to have some that are organized in collaboration with the university, student organizations, in order to support an experience where they could connect with peers, connect around interests, do organic things like, yesterday, I think it was, not yesterday, last week, we had students who were just coloring in front of Took or on PV Beach, and just did that because they were walking around and happened to be sitting around, and we had some resources there for them to be able to do that. So thinking creatively about how to connect students together who want that connection, while simultaneously students who don't, that's understandable, and continuing to provide virtual experiences for those students. So at the end of the day, we want students to be able to still, connect with some of their interests and passions, and finding ways to do that for them in a safe way. To that point, some of you possibly participated. We had our virtual spring involvement fair last week, Thursday. We had over 298 student organizations on the Tempe campus participate in that fair. So we were really excited about that. And then this week, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we are doing in person, and we're doing 3 again, because we want to abide by the COVID guidelines and so forth. And between those 3, we have over 110 or approximately 110 student orgs who have opted to have and be participating in an in-person involvement fair, again, abiding by COVID guidelines. So this is again continuing to demonstrate just that students have an option, and that's what we're continuing to try to provide for our students. We continue to update the COVID management strategy. So you all have probably, hopefully, continued to monitor what is being communicated by the university. You will have seen that we've also increased our random testing to 25% for the spring semester. So again, continuing to strategically look at what's happening. Our numbers out in the community are higher than our numbers on campus. So we're continuing to just really ask individuals, asking you all to continue to communicate with your peers to make the decisions that they need to make on an individual basis, and influencing your peers to continue to abide by the community of care standards that we have in the environment. Vaccines have rolled out, and while I anticipate perhaps there may be a question about what the status is of vaccines for our students, we don't have that plan. As you know, that plan is being rolled out much larger than just ASU, as are a lot of the COVID things that are rolling out with our Maricopa County Health Department and our CDC and so forth like that, and our government. So, but ASU is playing a role in helping to support individuals. I know there have been instructors and individuals who are part of that 1B, that education category, and or frontline with individuals who have received communication about them being able to get their vaccines. So as more information rolls out in that area, again, I'm sure President Palmer and or myself in these meetings and or others, or the messaging that's coming out from the university, will be able to keep you informed and updated about that. Okay, so I will pause there with my updates and see what questions you all may have as we kick off spring 2021.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the updates. So senators, as you guys know, we have about 15 minutes of Q&A if you guys have questions. So feel free to put the little raise hand option up, and then we'll go through one by one. And then once everyone's gotten their questions asked, if someone has a second question, they'll be welcome to ask their second question as long as everyone else is asked. So it looks like I've got Senator Lopez, Senator Huerta, Senator Ibarra, and then Senator Scoville so far. So that'll be the speaking order for now. But obviously, if someone else has questions or something comes up, don't hesitate to raise your hand. But yeah, so in the meantime, Senator Lopez, you have the floor to ask Dean Aska your question.
Yeah, hi. So concerning spring break, I guess my question is, so as far as I'm aware, all of the study days we were given are on the weekend. Could you explain why that is, and if the calendar is changing at all in the future, or if this is going to be the calendar for the entire academic semester?
This is the calendar for the spring semester. So there's no decision that has been made for the fall or even the summer at this particular point in time. This is just the calendar for the spring semester.
Yeah, and could you explain why our study days are on weekends? Unlike U of A, for example, took their spring break and divided it up among class days. So for example, a Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, you wouldn't have class that day, it's a break day. Could you explain why our break days were put to weekends when there are no classes?
Yes. So the specific about why break days were weekends, no, I can't answer that question specifically, but overall it was looking at, to you all's point, whether we would have a spring break or not, or whether it would be sprinkled throughout the semester. Overall, the decision was made that we wouldn't have a spring break at all throughout the course of the spring semester because of the COVID component. But as far as the specific why were the study days on the weekend versus any other days, Senator Lopez, I don't have that specific detail for you. We were looking at the big picture. Institutionally, it was the big picture about how we can do this. As you all know, with classes and everything, that there are certain hours, there are certain ways in which all of that has to come into consideration. And so I'm sure all of that was taken into consideration when coming to this final decision.
All right, Senator Huerta, I had you next to my list, but I see your hands down yet. Now, do you have a question?
I had the same question.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I did see that at other institutions that they had sprinkled the days around and so forth. And so there are, multiple options or approaches that different institutions were considering. And this is where our institution landed for it.
So then Senator Ibarra, you are up next on my list, and then Senator Scoville afterwards.
Hi, Dean Aska. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My question was in relation to student leaders across campus, especially or particularly in housing, and the new requirement to host in-person programs. From my understanding, CAs are now required to do 5 in-person and then 5 virtual, and then they don't have an ability to opt out if they are immunocompromised or if they just feel uncomfortable. So I wanted to know the reasoning behind the decision for more in-person programming and then becoming a requirement. And then also what available options are there for students who want to opt out?
Sure. So great question. With regards to the housing specific details, I think anybody who is a CA, what I would encourage you all to do is to let your constituents know if they are CAs to please speak with their supervisors and have a conversation with their supervisors with regards to whatever concerns that they may have and think through critically about how they might be able to partner. Anytime we're doing programming in the hall or in any other spaces, it's part of that educational piece, even for the student leader that's advancing that. And so there are different skills and so forth that an individual needs to have. And I'm talking about this broadly outside of COVID, that's always a process where individuals can pair up with each other, can think critically and creatively about being able to meet programming needs and so forth. So that's even beyond COVID. With regards to the housing piece, yes, I am aware that an ask was made in order for our students to do in person. And part of it comes from this larger understanding that some of our students are looking for, in-person connections. Yet, what that can look like is very wide, right? It could vary. So my strong recommendation is that if you know a student leader that is a CA that is challenged by this, please have them speak to their supervisor so that with their supervisor, they could come up with a plan as to how best to approach it. It's the same thing that we share with you all, even with your faculty members, that, you know, every student may have a different situation that individuals may or may not be aware of. And so we want to work with individuals as we come to understand what those situations might be. But the bigger picture, Senator Barrow, is that we are fully aware that there are students who want in person and some students who don't, they want the option. And so how do we work collaboratively to support that? And some of that might be even connecting and understanding what these experiences are that our student leaders, yourselves, as well as other student leaders across the university can be fully aware of and can help push that information out to students for them to know and to be able to take advantage of that.
All right, next I have Senator Scoville, and then I have Senator Saidu, and then Senator Lopez back in the queue. So Senator Scoville, you have the floor to ask your question.
Yeah, so last semester, I really relied on the walk-in appointments, this COVID walk-in testing appointments at Tempe Sun Devil Hall. It seemed like they were available basically like 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, like all days of the week. And then this semester, I have found that they are now only available at, I can't figure out what the schedule is, but like definitely when you look at the appointments online, it seems like there are fewer hours where there is walk-in COVID testing on the Tempe campus. So I'm just wondering if you had information on, well, it seems like the hours have been reduced, and then why those hours have been reduced when we're encouraging in-person attendance on campus.
You are the first to share that information with me. So I am verifying, as a matter of fact, as we're talking, to see if there has been a shift to the hours. I have not heard that there has been a significant shift to the hours. So I'm checking on that. And I'll even look to President Palmer if she has a nod to see if she's aware of any shifts.
No, to my knowledge, the Sun Devil Hall is always closed at 3:30 for testing. Or maybe 3.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I know I used to go after class last semester, and I could have sworn that like I would, but yeah, it just seems like the hours have been reduced, but.
We'll verify.
Thank you.
We'll verify. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Up next, I think I have Senator Saidu.
Hi, Dinaska. I had a question about a resolution that passed last semester. It was about trash cans in the men's bathrooms for students with disabilities, but also trans students. So I wanted to know if there was an update on that, if there's been any changes at all, or like what's happening with that proposal.
Yep, there are no changes right now. The proposal has been given to us and it is known, but is not something that is being acted upon right now in the way the proposal has been shared. What we did educate and want to inform everybody is that the family restrooms do have those resources in there. So right now, we do have a solution for students who want to use that restroom resource in that manner. And we could put for the future whether or not and how we would advance trash cans in the men's restroom across the university. But there is no action taking place at this moment. We had talked about assessing the feasibility of that, but there has been no meetings to address that specifically at this time.
Do you know how long something like that could take? Because I know you said that there's trash cans in like family bathrooms, but it just doesn't seem like a good thing to tell students with disabilities like you can go walk across campus to go find a family bathroom somewhere. So I want to know like what exactly like the steps would be, I guess, to get trash cans in these bathrooms.
Sure. So we have family restrooms across the university, and they're actually highlighted on our university map. So students can see that. They can see where all the restrooms are at the university on the university map. So I guess you all could help us get the information out about the ASU maps, the interactive maps, and all of the resources that students might be able to access and find through that university map, right? So family restrooms they're not limited across our university. So however which way you all could help us get that information out, that'll be good. And then the other component proactively right now is if students come to your attention, then we can partner with them depending on what their request might be, either through the Dean of Students office or the sales office. I hear you all when you say the ideal is for it to be universal, but we're not there at this particular point in time. And so we would need to go through a feasibility assessment with regards to that, and then identify the funding and then put a timeline in place as far as identify the funding and then put a timeline in place to move that forward. So that is something that I also made a suggestion as to whether or not it's something that also gets looked upon as a priority for the future, for you all as future for the future student governments to also take into consideration, as there's also several projects that are being worked upon now. Did that answer your question, Senator Sadhu?
Yes, but I mean, I guess we can follow up at a later time because I don't want to hold up any other questions. But not really, because I mean, we can follow up at another time.
Yep. We could schedule a meeting so that we could talk through what the process would be for a feasibility. But I guess to answer your direct question, there are no current actions taking place on advancing that, period, right? And then a short-term solution is for students who may require that type of resource. We have it through the family bathrooms. So I wanted to make sure that communication was clear.
Okay, it is. Thank you.
Okay, good. And I hear what the request is. So I don't want to leave that piece. I hear what the request is as well.
Awesome. And then I've got 2 more senators, so that should probably expire our speaking order because we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. So I've got Senator Lopez and Senator Decker. So since we have enough time, Senator Lopez can go first and then Senator Decker afterwards.
Yeah, I guess what I'm curious about is, like, from what you've been seeing in meetings, I guess, or internally, why is ASU now pushing, in-person participation when the coronavirus pandemic is, just as bad as it was last semester, if not worse? Like, what was ASU seeing that made them do that? Like, what data were they looking at that led them to say, well, we need more in-class participation when the pandemic is actually in, like, a worse place than it was last semester when they were discouraging people to come to campus and do things in person?
Well, so let me say this, we were never discouraging people from coming to campus when we started the fall semester. It was always a matter of students have options that, through ASU Sync, if they want to take their classes in person or not in person. Our communication and our commitment has always been to continue to advance in managing COVID, as opposed to shutting stuff down completely. As an institution, we never shut down. We continue to do our best to provide the services, resources, your classes, and everything through different modalities. I would say the delay, Senator Lopez, which I think is the correct observation, is we did not have our COVID guidelines finalized and in place till about September, October. So that would have been where you would have seen a shift. And so that's where it could have felt like we were doing something different in the fall semester, when in fact we're finalizing our COVID guidelines in order to support anybody, which is faculty, staff, students, whomever, if they were having co-curricular experiences, that they had the guidelines in order for them to do it in the safest way, utilizing those guidelines. So I think that was the shift that you're probably seeing. But now that we have our guidelines in place and have had them towards the end of last semester, we're certainly confident in continuing to utilize those to guide the conversations and the program planning for the spring semester. So I would say that would probably be the shift in the dialogue.
All right, and then Senator Decker, you are the last person in our speaking order for tonight, so you can ask your question. And then obviously if anyone has any follow-up questions or anything that they'd like to ask, send them my way as well as Jacqueline's way, and then we can get them up to Dean Aska or whoever can best answer them. So Senator Decker, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dean Aska, for being here tonight. Well, first, I just wanted to say in response to a potential response to Diva's question, I work at one of the AZDHS ASU COVID testing sites, the partnership there. And the lab, like the biodesign lab, has been limiting our numbers due to short staffing at the biodesign lab. And they still want to ensure that results are 24 to 48 hours. So they're limiting our numbers there, which could be a reason why they're limiting walk-ins, and they're prioritizing people with appointments that are made and the appointments they have available from day to day. That's just what I'm hearing on the back end and as far as the lab goes. And that's an issue they said they're working on to address to ensure we could expand the capacity again to what it once was last semester. But my question for you, Dean Aska, is I know you had mentioned vaccines early on in your updates that you gave us, and I really appreciate that. I understand that the university doesn't really have an answer as to when students will have access to it, but has the university considered any public health promotional events or materials or information for students to at least educate the student body about the vaccine, maybe to alleviate some concerns and fears beforehand, so that way we have a lot more compliance when the vaccine is made available to students?
I think that's an excellent recommendation because students have not been on the radar yet with regards to the vaccine, just because of the way in which the categories have been identified. I know we haven't started that conversation. So maybe that is something that we could look at collaboratively. Certainly we'll move that forward in the circles that, I'm having these conversations about what type of education exists already through the CDC or through the Maricopa Public Health County, and how can we get and begin to push that information out. So I think that's a great recommendation. We could see how we could make that happen.
For sure. Thank you so much. Just as a side note, the Director of Health and Wellness for USG and myself, she's already expressed this to me, would love to help with any university-wide initiatives regarding that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And going back to Senator Scoville, so yes, well, one, testing was closed yesterday. Yesterday was the holiday, so testing, there was no testing. And some of the sites are closing around 3 o'clock, and that's due to the demand and the people who are setting some appointments. So they may be shortening it because people are not making appointments. So we're always encouraging folks to do the appointment piece so that we're aware and we're monitoring what that looks like. But if you continue to see or have problems or hear more students having problems, then let me know so that I could follow up accordingly with those hours.
It might just also be useful if there's like a public place that the walk-in hours are posted. Because I know earlier last week, I called health services the day before and I was like, hi, because I have to work around my work schedule and I don't always know when I'll work. So I can't make appointments in advance all the time. And I'd called health services and I was like, hey, will they be open tomorrow? And I was told that they would when they wouldn't, and there wasn't anywhere I could go to check.
Oh, really? When was that a day that wasn't a holiday that you had that experience? Like, it makes sense.
No, it was Tuesday, like last week. I mean, I think the person who was at health services, like the receptionist, maybe they were just like looking at old information, but it might be useful if there's,
because we've been open 7 days a week with the exception of very few holidays. So thank you for the feedback. Yes, I'll follow up and kind of see where we're at, and at minimum help to, hopefully our front desk, some of the offices that are more likely to get those calls, to have that feedback so that we could be prepared. Good. And if you continue to hear that about the short hours, please let me know.
All right. Well, I think that's all of our senators' questions for today. But again, you guys, if you have anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get those answered for you guys. And thank you, Dean Aska, for coming to our meeting tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks, if not sooner.
Yes, we will see you in 2 weeks, if not sooner. And so thank you very much. And thanks for the representation that you are providing to your peers and giving voice to them. So have a good, productive rest of your evening. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, and for the rest of that evening, we're going to get into officer and administrative reports. So it looks like I am up first. Super exciting. I'm sure you all love hearing me talk all the time. So main reports that I have are the WP Carey seat and the Barrett seat are still being filled. They haven't been filled yet by the respective college councils, but I'll definitely let you guys know once I hear anything. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. And then other things are the election cycle is about to open up. So the intent to run, I believe, opens up on January 25th. And then we'll close in mid to late February. And then elections will be sometime in March, closing on April 1st. So I definitely encourage you guys, if you're interested in running, to run. Absolutely. Tell your friends, anyone who, the Assistant Elections Commissioner, Josh, I believe, should be coming to our next Senate session on the 2nd to kind of talk through some election stuff. So that's exciting. So I'll get you guys all the deets on that. But yeah, so super fun. And then other things in general, we're still working on getting a social event planned for online for you guys and the directors to kind of meet each other, since that was requested. And then obviously don't forget to make sure you're submitting your reports. Like we changed the requirements for that, made it a little more lenient so that we're not striking people just for submitting their report like an hour late, because that's just, not super tolerant and kind of unfair. So remember to just make sure to submit your reports by Thursdays, but really, like, if it's a couple hours late, like, don't sweat it. Just make sure you're submitting them and being as detailed as possible. And then obviously, as always, let us know if you have any initiatives that you're working on. There are a bunch of things going on right now that I'm sure our lovely chairs are going to update us on, so I won't steal their thunder. But I'm really looking forward to a productive semester. I think you guys are going to make some big waves this semester, so I'm very excited for all of that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. The only other thing is that the all Senate session for this semester will most likely be on February 12th from 12 to 2. I'm still waiting on official confirmation for the hours from Weston Poly. So like hold that tentatively, but that date is when it's going to be. We moved it to a Friday so you guys wouldn't have to wake up on a Saturday morning and do it. And obviously if you have class, like, really don't sweat it. But once I have that official date, I'll definitely let you guys know. But just tentatively book your calendars for that 2-hour time slot on the 12th, February 12th from 12 to 2. So yeah, I think that that's all that I have. But obviously if I forgot anything, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's my update. And then Advisor Rosenkrantz is not here today, so she won't be giving an update. But if you guys do have any questions for her or anything like that, you can just shoot her an email or a Slack. She's pretty responsive over there. But yeah, so up next is President Plummer. If you want to give us your update for the week.
Yeah, actually, in regards to Elizabeth, she's going to be out this week and maybe next week. So if you do need anything, just reach out to me and I can answer your questions or connect you to the right person. She's just gone for a little bit. But also, hi, I hope your break went really well. I know that you all really needed that refresher. I know that you're all really disappointed about spring break, but in lieu of spring break, USG will be giving you a spring break. So you can at least decompress from us with a little bit less work. And during that week, I know that's not what you hope for, but I want to give you a little bit less work. And I have a lot of updates, so bear with me. For interns, please make sure you're delegating to them. I know a lot of you do a lot of work, so give them tasks. They're really eager to get involved now that they've had their bearings and they're a part of their respective departments. So you have Senate interns, they really want to be involved. So if any of them have reached out to you or you know of any of them who aren't doing anything, make sure you try to envelop them into the USG community. Exciting news is one of the COP priorities is completed in partnership with Rainco and BL+C, the new housing cycle process that came out earlier this month was updated to have a better gender inclusive housing process. So it makes it easier for the roommate search system. It makes it more expedited for how to apply. And if you hear any troubleshooting for it, they're really quick at responding. I know that Beth from BL+C has already troubleshooted 3 things from different community members, and the woman who's helping us was able to fix them day of. So if you hear anything like that, let me know. And then they're going to continue to fix the system. So I'll pass on all the information I know to the next president that we get this semester, and they'll continue this priority, which is really exciting that this has happened. And then I emailed all of you the budget earlier today. So if you have any questions, let me know. As I mentioned before, they're actually for sports clubs and potentially Devils in Disguise. The money that is on those budget lines, which we typically use in a year, isn't going to be fully used. So next Senate meeting, I will have a budget change proposal. But if any of you have any ideas for how we can use this money, I'd love to hear it. We don't want to have the student programming fee go to waste because it gets absorbed. It doesn't roll over. It goes into the one-time funding pot. And then the crisis fund is still open. We still have a lot of money left in it. I think at least $90,000. So if you know anybody who needs it, if they want to apply again, please encourage them to do so. And then I also sent you a COP update email. So if you have any questions about that stuff, you can ask me as well. For BAC on the 18th is having an event, Remaining Resilient and Rejoicing in Freedom with Angela Davis. And we, as well as the other USGs, are going to be partnered with them. And I'm really excited. Our very own Diversity and Inclusion Director, Courtney King, is going to be able to speak briefly at the event. So that's really great. In regards to SR4, which was passed last semester, we have 4 out of the 5 organizations in ASASU have passed their own versions. We're still waiting on Polytechnic. They're working on the logistics of how they want to pass it. But once that's completed, COP will email a big letter to administration showing that all of ASASU has supported it, and then we can try to push forward with that. The Pitchfork Awards are this semester, so please apply if you want to nominate yourself, if you want to nominate others. If you don't want to nominate yourself, but you want an award and you have a specific one you want, I can nominate you. Let me know. And then that's it. Don't forget that Elizabeth is out for this week, so if you need anything, ask me. Sorry, that was a lot of stuff, but if you have any questions, let me know.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And then up next, I think we've got Kaj, if you want to give us your update.
Yeah, of course. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a great break. I also have a lot, so please bear with me as well. So, of course, most of our civic engagement efforts happen over the fall semester, just because that's when election season is, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a lot of different opportunities to kind of engage with like our community in different avenues. So we're going to be having different town halls with various congressmen and US senators, as well as voter registration events throughout the spring semester, including new events with the current county recorder's office to try and make that relationship a little bit better. We will be having President Crow forums, which are mandatory. So please make sure that you attend those. And if you can't attend those, submit an excuse to Trey or Chief of Staff to make sure that you're excused from the Crow forums. We will also be having the Women in Leadership Dinner in March as a part of Women's History Month, as well as Elect Her, which is another event focused on women in politics. And we'll also be having more composting and off-campus recycling projects to kind of expand our sustainability efforts. And then in terms of community service, please make sure to read and fill out that email that Rima sent. And as I'll be sending over details for Devils in Disguise soon too, which is also mandatory. So we'll be seeing what avenue the university will be taking in terms of having Devils in Disguise this year and making sure that it's COVID friendly and COVID safe. And like Jacqueline said, please reach out to our interns. They would love to get involved and learn more about pretty much every part of USG. So those are it for my updates. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me.
Thank you. And then Josh, if you've got some updates for us.
I do. Thank you, Kate. Hope everyone's having a good start to the semester thus far. So I have a few updates. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. As Cam said earlier, the forum for the vaccine is in the works. Ariana's been working really hard on that. Just trying to figure something out for that. So keep an eye out for that. There's a blood drive this month on the 26th. which is a week from today, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, did you say it's only Kate? Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, my mom came in.
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to mouth to her that I'm in a meeting, but alas, I'm busted. Keep going.
No worries, sorry. We're also dispersing the safe sex supplies on campus. We're trying to get those in every campus building, as well as have an interactive map on our website as well. And we're also kicking off Wellness Wednesdays next week, which is really just from 11 to 12. We're having a little table out there where next week I think we're giving out yoga mats and just cool stuff just for people's mental health as they are going through these trying times. The Safety Escort Service, they're having their National Safe Ride Conference this month. It's online, but other than that, they are open and they're running smoothly. Not too much to report in that regard. Same with Bike Co-op, they are running smoothly. They're just hiring one mechanic because a mechanic left over the break, but other than that, everything's going well. For student affairs, the first Maroon Monday is starting next Monday on the 25th. So if you guys know anybody that is in leadership in any organization or club on campus and they want to table, we kind of want to make that a big showcase for all the students where they can come and collect stuff from the different organizations and learn more about all the organizations. And I think it's a really good opportunity to actually do something, considering that's the only thing that we're really able to do. And we also have a team together for the Centennial Professorship Award. So Alex is working really hard on that, and he will be reviewing those nominees. For the interns, or for SPT, I have the interns doing their own personal projects. This includes a talent show that's in the works. We're thinking about bringing David Dobrik to campus. If any of you guys know who that is. He is a DACA student, so just so he can highlight his experiences with that and just a general Q&A, because most people seem to like him a little bit, as well as other stuff, including a professional attire closet and a USG farmers market that should be coming late in the semester, as well as the basketball giveaways for game days. SPT was struggling a little bit at first last semester, but it's doing a lot better now. Just because there's a lot more that we can do and we've kind of adjusted way better. But that's all for me. If you have any questions, just email me.
Awesome. And normally Elizabeth would speak now, but since she's not here, like Jacqueline said, if you have any questions, just direct them up to Jacqueline. And up next, we're going to do standing committee reports. So first, if one or both of the appropriations chairs, Senator Anbar and Senator Bacala, would like to give us a little update. I know y'all have been doing some hard work lately, so definitely give us your updates. Go for it.
Thanks, Kate. So for approps, we have a few updates. We're off to a pretty strong start with the semester. Got a lot of people applying for funding. Just as a reminder, for general funding that closes on February 8th and for event funding that closes on March 19th. So if you're part of any student orgs or you know anybody who's part of different student orgs, you can remind them of those dates. You can also remind them that we're going to be hosting an appropriations training over Zoom actually a week from like right now. So that's going to be on the 26th at 6 p.m. And the link is on the USG website. So that'll be helpful for any clubs, if their officers want to get a little bit more detailed information about the appropriations process than what's available just in the Canvas training. And then finally, we're starting one of our initiatives for this semester to try to redirect money from the appropriations general fund to something that will more directly help students, since we know we're probably going to have more money left over even after all the clubs have applied. So what we're planning to do is, and we've been working with President Palmer on this, is we're going to try to redirect $100,000 to $200,000 to a fund that will be usable so that students can get discounts on books from the bookstore. And that money would hopefully roll over then for summer and fall. So for the next several, semesters or whatever you want to call it. students would kind of have a discount on books and would not have to worry about like financial issues with purchasing books and potentially other items as well from the ASU bookstore. So that's the plan. We're going to try to write up a bill making that change official for the next Senate session. And so we'll all get to vote on it. But just kind of keep your eyes peeled for that because that's what we're working on right now. And then Kylie, if you want to add anything, please feel free.
I'm good. I have nothing to add.
Awesome. Well, thanks, team. Then we've got our lovely finance chair, Senator Hollingsworth. I know you and your committee have been up to a lot of brainstorming too, so feel free to throw us some updates.
Yeah, so the most important thing right now that we're working on is the spring summit. And so that will take place on one of our caucus days. That's on February 9th. So there will be caucus that day. I just wanted to put it out there that during the summit, if you guys like wanted to chime in or you have comments or questions or concerns about any of the events or the items that the councils are requesting, obviously we have enough money to cover basically, you know, most of what they need or want because we didn't have to use a whole lot last semester, but you know, you're a part of it too, so don't hesitate to like ask questions after the presentations. That way the finance committee can take all of that into consideration when we do meet afterwards to kind of allocate those funds to the college councils. So we definitely want your input as well. And then as far as our professional development grant goes, we spent a lot of last semester brainstorming how we can expand upon that just because travel isn't, you know, still isn't happening. So we want to be able to use those that money in a virtual capacity. So we've expanded it to cover things like grad exam materials, whether that's flashcards or textbooks to practice for the exams, covering virtual conferences, virtual certifications. So really a lot of it is up to the requester's discretion. And as long as it's, you know, in the professional development realm, we have the money to cover that. So whether you want to apply for that yourself or letting your college councils know, I think this semester, I really want to make sure that communication from us as senators to our respective college councils, that communication is there. That way the college councils can then communicate that to their students because we have lots of money to give for this. So right now, this semester, our priority is making sure that people know that it's there. And we have like a tab on the website as well, the USG website with my email attached. If anybody has any questions, you can refer them to me. But yeah, we have a lot going on and we have a lot of money to give. So we want to make sure that students are still able to get that professional development in while they can virtually. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Awesome. And then up next, we've got Senator Decker, our government operations chair, whose committee we know has been hard at work because they've got some legislation on the floor today. So Senator Decker, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. A majority of my update will come through the duration of considering SB 24 because that has been the grunt of our work over the break and towards the end of last semester. Essentially, it's the enrollment number bills. If you haven't seen any of my communications, we are establishing seat counts for next year's Senate based off enrollment data from this year at the Tempe campus. Other than that, we've been brainstorming various ways that we can make the bylaws more easily readable as well as more easily understandable. That is a job that we are going to be working on with some senators. So if there's some interns, if there's any interns in the audience, we would please feel free to reach out to me if you are looking for tasks to be done. And if you guys have any senators in your, interns in your committees that you guys have a slow week or a slow couple weeks or something and want to shoot them over to our government operations, we would love that.
Awesome. Sorry, I think I was promoting Senator Isais up to a panelist. I saw her raise her hand from the attendees. So hopefully she'll get up in here. Sorry for the delay. With that said, Senator Saidu, our University Affairs Chair, if you want to give us the update of all of the incredible things your committee is working on, please tell us all of the things.
Okay, so first up is our Title IX project. So right now, the biggest thing we're working on that for is the January 27th event with Women's Coalition and Sunday Votes Against Sexual Assault. It's next week, Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and it's going to be an informational event. It's a collaboration between different clubs on campus that specifically advocate against sexual assault on campus and what ASU can do about it. And there's going to be a PowerPoint presentation on ASU's history with dealing with sexual assault, and there's going to be a Q&A with the Title IX director and also some other people that can answer any questions that people have. And then also for our Title IX project is we're going to start working on monthly resource spotlights. So every month on USG's Instagram, there should be something, some sort of resource for where students can go to report or what they can do after if something like that happens to them. And those are the two biggest things. I'm also working on some legislation. So I know some of you guys have reached out to me in the past because you're interested in this project. So if you would like to read the legislation before it goes anywhere, I would love to share it with you. And then next up, our interns are planning a town hall with Airmark. Nothing's really finalized yet. They're still talking to Airmark about that. So as of right now, the date that they've chosen is February 1st, but that's not set in stone, so they could still change it. It's mostly going to be about food again on campus, but they did ask for Airmark to invite a corporate member to attend this town hall event so that students can have a Q&A with a corporate member. So that way, if people have questions about like the human rights violations or any of the main issues that people have with Airmark that's outside of ASU food, they can ask someone who actually is able to answer those questions. So that's something that they're working on right now. And then finally, psychiatry services. That one is we're just barely starting it. There's supposed to be a meeting happening soon where we can gather some information. It's supposed to be basically ASU has counseling services, but they don't have psychiatry services. So we're trying to see what we can do to get some psychiatry services on campus, if anything. GPSA is also working on something, and they've sent over their own resolution that they've written. So we're working with them to see if there's anything that we can do together. And our accessibility coalition has really taken off because it's no longer a USG project. The people that are in charge of it are now, it's basically its own group now. Whether or not it's going to be a part of the Council of Coalitions is something that's going to be decided on later down the line. But they have their own constitution, they have their member orgs and everything. So they did really well, and we're no longer like in charge of them, but that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you to all of our chairs for giving us all of those updates. I know y'all are constantly hard at work, and same with all the senators on your committees. So that said, the last little piece of administrative updates are COC/SDLC partnerships. So if anyone has an update from their respective partner, if they'd like to just unmute themselves and give us like what events they're working on or any updates that they have for us, or updates in general that are relevant, you guys can just unmute yourselves. Just make sure to say which org you are referencing.
Well, the Programming and Activities Board, they're having a Welcome to the New Year event on January 22nd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the MU. And it seems like it's going to be a blast, social distancing and everything. So if everyone wants to check that out, please feel free.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any updates? Y'all can just unmute yourselves. I know it might be awkward if you interrupt each other, but don't worry.
So for the Black African Coalition on January 25th, which is next Monday, I think, 5 o'clock, they have a Martin Luther King Jr. silent auction, and tickets to attend are $1, and you pay through GiveButter, the website. It is an in-person event, so tickets are limited. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to me. But the basics is January 27th, 5 p.m., Martin Luther King Jr. silent auction. Artists around Tempe have donated their projects. So those are things that are being auctioned off.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Yeah, so for the Women's Coalition, it's not too late to join the Her Story Committee. I know Senate President Hostel is on the committee as well. Meetings are Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and it's all on the Instagram, the bio, like the link tree. And then as Senator Saidu said, next Wednesday at 5 p.m. will be the Understanding Title IX event. So if everyone could make it, it's going to be a really great event. And then the Her Story event submission is on Instagram through the link at ASU Women's Co. So if you know any student orgs that would be interested in participating and hosting an event, please let them know. And if you have any questions, please just message me on Slack.
Awesome. Anyone else?
One thing of interest when I was talking with William over at Student Alumni Association is they're planning to do a lot more collaboration and service type things going into the spring semester, as they've really felt that since many things have been online, we've really lost like the service component of the things we do. So that's some of the stuff they're planning to do going forward this semester.
Awesome. Okay, I don't want to, is there anyone else who wants to go with an update? I don't want to cut anyone off. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, but if you have updates, you can always send them in the Senate Slack as well as the Tempe Slack as well. Don't hesitate to reach out. But yeah, awesome guys. And then really quickly, I realized that I skipped call to the audience, which is horribly inappropriate. So really quick for our audience members, do any of you guys want to speak? I am so sorry for forgetting that at the beginning. That will not happen again. But if you want to speak, you absolutely have the chance to now. So you can just raise your hand and then we will unmute you. I think most people are USG members, but I want to make sure before we close that off. So if anyone from the audience wants to address the Senate, you can just raise your hand. I'll give it like 10 or 20 seconds. Otherwise, then we'll close call to the audience. Okay. It doesn't look like anyone from the audience wants to address the Senate. Totally fine. But wanted to make sure before I skipped a very important part of our session. Without the public, we do not have really, if we don't listen to the public, what are we doing, right? So cool. Well, that said, that is our administrative updates and everything for tonight. So thank you guys for all the work that you're doing. And we will move on to our only piece of new business. So if the sponsor of SB 24 would like to screen share and get that bill shown, we will hear that bill.
Great. I am assuming everybody can see my screen now. This is Senate Bill 24, an act to establish seat counts for the 19th legislature of the USG Tempe Senate. I'm just going to read the bill. It's quite short. I won't read the numbers. Whereas the undergraduate student government Tempe bylaws prescribes the authority and responsibility of the Senate to report enrollment statistics for the current year and calculate seat counts for the succeeding legislature based on such enrollment statistics per Title IV of the bylaws. Noting that proportional representation shall be maintained in the Senate with such regards that each degree awarding college or school shall be represented by one senator and one additional senator per 3,000 students enrolled in the respective degree awarding college or school per Title IV, Section 1.1a of the USG Tempe bylaws. Cognizant of the responsibility of the USG Supreme Court to review this legislation, enrollment statistics and seat count calculations after the passage of this bill per Title V of the USG-T bylaws. Whereas the linked document reveals the following enrollment data for the 2020-2021 school year, which shall be used to determine the seat counts for the 19th legislature of the USG-T Senate. And the enrollment data document is right here, but I've copied and pasted it to the bill. noting that the following table outlines the data and calculations pertaining to the Tempe campus and USG-T Senate. Right here, I'm just going to go through all of this. Please catch me if any of our math and calculations are wrong. So essentially, I just want to explain to everybody one more time that every degree awarding college and school does for sure get one Senate seat at least, and then an additional seat on top of that one for every 3,000 students enrolled. So we have here Barrett, the Honors College, 5,751 students, so 2 seats, the one for the automatic seat and the one for the first 3,000 students enrolled. Barrett did not hit another 3,000 students on top of that, so it will reflect a lost seat next year in comparison to this year. WP Carey, 11,262, so the first 9,000 students in there will be accounted for by 3 seats plus the original one. Herberger, 4,562 students, so 2 Senate seats. IRA Fulton, 10,389, 4 Senate seats. Global Futures, you guys can read the numbers. 1 seat. Health Solutions, 1 seat. The College of Integrative Arts and Sciences, 1 seat. CLASS, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, 5 seats. And the Teachers College, 1 seat. It's all outlined here, therefore being enacted by the 2020-21 Undergraduate Student Government Tempe Senate of the 19th Legislature of the USG-T Senate shall have the following representatives. All right. I am proposing an on the floor amendment as well, and that is simply just to delete the section that originally reflected 1 Senate seat for the Watts College of Public Service and Communication Solutions. And that is only because when the enrollment data, I'm going to click on this so you guys can see what the document looks like. When the enrollment data was reported to us, it said that there was 1 student there was 1 student in that college on the Tempe campus. And so per the bylaws and constitution, we had added that into the bill because if there's one, even if there's 1 student, they automatically get 1 seat. However, upon further investigation and question asking, and I received the answer on Friday, that student is actually a student at the downtown campus or at the Tempe campus. However, they have a split major where they're being represented on the downtown campus, but their original major is only on the Tempe campus. So this is not going to be an ongoing occurrence that occurs unless there are students that have crossover in that way. The reason why this 1 student is reflected here on the enrollment statistics is because it was actually a mistake. They usually account for the crossover in that way, but it was a mistake in the enrollment statistics reported here. So, Madam President, I move to amend SB 24 to reflect the changes seen in the suggestions here.
All right. Are there any objections or seconds to that amendment?
I second.
All right. I'm hearing a second. I'm not hearing any objections. So then, all right. Okay. I think I've given it enough time. So then the amendment is approved and seconded. So Senator Decker, you can make that amendment. And then if you want to engage in any discussion before we vote, Senator Decker, feel free. And then other senators, please raise your hand if you would like to discuss anything prior to a vote.
All right, I'm just going to exercise my right to speak first after reading the bill for y'all. I just want everybody to know that this process has come about just to ensure that every single Senate going forward has the correct representation. We always want our students to feel correctly represented. This bill does not make a statement or establish anything about the way representation is calculated now. It's not making a change for that. So if anybody has any questions regarding why it's 1 seat automatically in 3,000, 1 seat per 3,000 students after the fact, and not accounting for like 250 students short in Barrett the Honors College, for example, that this bill does not pertain to that matter at all. This is simply just following the rules that are currently established. The Government Operations Committee has not yet begun considering anything regarding changing the way representation is done. However, as the Government Operations Chair, I would be happy to speak with anybody, any senators that have questions about that after the fact, although this bill does not pertain to that. It simply just establishes the seat count per the current written rules in the bylaws. Other than that, I recommend the passage of this bill because it's essential for the elections timeline to begin on the 25th. If there's any questions, I would be more than happy for you to address your questions to the chair, and if needed, I can answer them.
All right. Well, with that said, the floor is open for any discussion. So if anyone has anything, please raise your hand and then I'll call on you and give you the floor. Or if you have any motions, raise your hand and I will call on you for that as well. All right. I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, I see one. Oh, Senator Mansfield, you have the floor.
I just want to motion to call this bill to question.
Second. All right. Are there any objections to the motion to call this bill to question?
Oh, can I motion that we vote by acclamation, right? Or we would just do like a voice?
Yeah, where we just, yeah. Okay, so there's a motion. I think the motion to acclamation supersedes the call to question effectively because it's calling it to question. So is there a second to the vote by acclamation? As like, I know you guys have done this before, but just a refresher, the acclamation is basically that you just vote and it goes through like 100% and you don't actually have to fill out the vote form, but it would count as an affirmative vote. So I got a second from Senator Vicala. Are there any objections to the acclamation motion by Senator Lopez? Okay. I'm not hearing any. I'm just hearing a second. So with that said, SB 24 passes by acclamation, and we've got our seat numbers for this upcoming school year, which is really nice. They're now going to be sent off to the Supreme Court just to verify again. So you guys are the checks and balances, and so are they. So if they catch a discrepancy, we'll let you know. But the numbers looked good. So cool. Well, thank you so much, you guys. And thank you to the GovOps team for working on getting that data and calculating it. That said, that is all of our business for tonight. So we got an open forum. So does anyone have anything that they just kind of want to tell the senators? Anything you're working on? Anything you want to talk about? If so, you can raise your hand and then I'll call on you. Open forum / announcements. Okay, I've got Senator Decker. Senator Decker, you can go, and then you have the floor. And if anyone else has anything, feel free to raise your hand, and I'll call on you after Senator Decker.
All right, sorry, I'm just gonna plug my computer in. It's about to die. I'll speak while I'm trying to do this. Well, thank you all so much for passing that bill. It really helps ensure there's anything of procedure. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's really great. We needed it. Additionally, this is like completely random, but I care a lot about the vaccine, and I just want anybody to know, or I know that a lot of people are having issues signing up for vaccine, especially those in the eligible age range right now, 65 and older, aren't very well versed with technology and don't know how to sign up for vaccine. The system is terrible. If anybody is having issues with that you know of, like any family members or whatever, and you're not really sure how the vaccine system works, I would be more than happy to speak with anybody you guys know over the phone to help them get signed up for a vaccine. I think it's really important. I would love to donate my time in order to do that. The system is really wild, but I've learned some ins and outs and kinks of the system and ways to bypass some of the glitches that are occurring. So please just message me and I'd be more than happy to connect with anybody or connect with you guys if you're trying to help others too.
All right, thank you, Senator Decker. And then I've got President Palmer and then Senator Lopez up next. So President Palmer.
I forgot to mention this in my reports, but with the upcoming USG elections, make sure you aren't discussing if you're running or anything like that in the office, in your virtual office hours, or in anything related to your current USG position. That's all, thanks.
And if you're running, review the elections code. Senator Lopez, you have the floor.
Speaking of vaccine stuff, I saw something going around that said all ASU employees and even student employees are able to sign up to get vaccinated. So if you need to do that, go do that.
Wait, where'd you see that?
An email that got sent out from some people who shared it to me. So it was an employer telling their student employees that they're able to get vaccinated, and it didn't seem specific to they weren't working at the health services office or something. So seems like all student employees are able to go sign up for a vaccine.
On that note, all you have to do on the vaccine website, it's podvaccine.azdhs.gov to sign up. You just have to select that you work in education, and you, like, when you're at the vaccine site, they don't check your credentials. Just a PSA.
Senator Lopez and Decker out here getting us the vaccine. All right. We do work for the university, so go team. Cam, if you want to send that link in the Senate chat just so people know how to access it. Because I don't know too much about the vaccine, but I'm sure that y'all would love to get it. So yeah, cool. Last quick little update from yours truly. For caucus next week, like you guys requested, since you guys are all doing so much work and everything, we're gonna do fewer caucuses this semester. I don't want to take up too much of your time, especially because it's just so hard to stare at a screen now. So no caucus next week. So don't worry about it next week. You can do whatever the heck you want with your Tuesday after or Tuesday evening. Please don't think about USG for those 3 hours, dear God. But yeah, so relax with your next Tuesday. But the next upcoming caucus slot will be the College Council, like Senator Hollingsworth and her committee are working on. So make sure to just keep that in mind, that one will be coming up. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure that that's all I have for you guys. And don't forget, I know that you guys had kind of talked to some of your college councils about doing college-specific academic like break days, and I know that there was some success there with the Mary Lou Fulton School that Senator Vanas was telling us about, which is really cool. And I know Senator Mansfield was talking to his college council about doing a proposal for their school to get perhaps some extra days off. So I definitely recommend that you guys kind of try seeing if your college councils have any sway there, since it doesn't look like there are going to be any changes from our side through like a huge institutional change with the calendar, but each school does have their own sort of power over their academic calendar to some extent. So definitely I recommend talking to your college councils about that, just to see if you can get a proposal going, because I know that that's worked for some schools. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas about anything that you want to work on, or any events, or anything that like we can just do in general to do better as USG, don't hesitate to like reach out to us. We're always trying to do a better job. And also, since there hasn't been a cancellation of spring break, if you have any ideas about, and I know we talked about this last week and how it's kind of hard to come up with ways to de-stress that aren't just, you know, days off. But if you do come up with any ideas or ways to sort of help kind of like mitigate any sort of stress that students are going to have as a product of the semester being technically shortened and spring break being cut, don't hesitate to reach out. We might be able to get some stuff rolling there, even if we can't change the full university calendar. So as always, I hope you guys have a good night. Don't forget to eat dinner, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to submit your Senate report on Thursday. Again, don't sweat it if it's a couple hours late. We won't be striking you, but make sure to actually submit it. So yeah, have a good night, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions.